Hello! Welcome to my channel. I'm Goshen, and this is a gaming channel where we're going to play games and have fun and have maybe some more informative videos sometimes. We're also going to read a little lore now and again. So, as you can see, we're going to start by playing Dota 2. It just came out. I was in the beta, but I didn't really play it. But we should start playing it, really, because it's a really good game. So, here we are. We've completed all of our tutorials. And after you complete all the tutorials, you have access to your completed Archronicus, which is a compilation of various short stories from the lore. So let's read it and get to know a little more about the world of Dota 2. We're going to open it. And Archronicus, I guess this is the introduction. Upon these hallowed pages are writ the last remnants of a once great body of knowledge, copied and recopied by generations of scribes, translated by scholars and encrypted by mages. The chronicles found herein compile the lost histories of the contested lands, its rulers and guardians, higher learning and ancient magics. The texts draw from many cultures across many ages, enshrining for all time those fragmented recounts of scholars long dead, and hidden truths more powerful than any sword or spell. Sealed now with an encryption spell, only worthy eyes may read the book, and by deed alone reveal the truth. And only with the blood of heroes shall new pages be written. The Mad Moon and the Ancients. When the world was still a cooling blob, it captured a neary companion, a glowing crystalline sphere that came to be known in lore as the Mad Moon. This small orb was full of violent radiance, a visual reminder of conflict in the heavens, bright enough to compete with the sun in daylight. But the Mad Moon was no inert rock. It was more truly a prison in which two warring ancient intelligences had been captured and flung into exile eons before, once the vast primordials that underlay creation had tired of their endless strife. The punishment of these ancients was to be locked together in one form, forever falling through infinity. And thus it went, until our unfortunate world captured that wanderer. For ages, primitive societies rose and fell beneath its weird glare. Creatures of varying intelligence and sophistication gazed up in wonder and curiosity to what extent their sentience allowed. Meanwhile, orbital stress and tidal forces allowed the Mad Moon's inhabitants to begin exploiting what were at first the slightest of weaknesses, as they set to work prying open their prison. The cracks spread slowly from the tiniest fractures. The cracks spread slowly from the tiniest fractions, until at last there were millions of fissures, vast and aglow, with weird energies. On one apocalyptic night, the moon finally shattered, torn apart from within. Most of the moon stuff was flung into space or consumed as it hit the atmosphere. A few rare fragments fell to Earth, either as fused molten lumps or as jagged crystals. The shards lay where they had fallen, and gradually the land around them recovered. As the survivors of the prehistoric cataclysm recuperated, flourished and developed civilizations, the Mad Moon became less a memory than a dream, with the night of its destruction woven into their myths. The fallen shards of primal matter had fractured into their original composites, radiant and dire. In its pure form, each type of stone gave off a peculiar energy. For those who settled around the sites, they found themselves feeding on this unearthly power until they had not only harnessed the energy, but made themselves dependent on it. They built shrines around the ancients and revered them, ironically, as godlike entities that had fallen to earth. The ancients, both radiant and dire, provided many benefits: kinetic energy, mana, protection, even resurrection. But the emanations changed everything in their influence. Around the radiant, the effects were bright and colorful, evoking lightness and charm. Around the dire, a sinister radioactive glow, a visual seepage indicative of poison and decay. Neither force was neutral. They were both perfect complements and total contradictions that could never be at peace. As each stone's cultural influence spread, it eventually came in conflict with the societies of its rival. Interference between the ancients was cause for war, as the presence of one caused a corresponding fall-off in the energy of the other. Each stone could only be restored to full power with the destruction of its foe stone, and so the enthralled creatures rallied to protect their lands by destroying the neighboring ancients. And from far and wide, the heroes heard the call to battle and came to join, hardly realizing that in some sense, both sides were the same. I hope you guys liked my read of our first chapter, The Mad Moon. This is really insightful, and it really does explain why it's radiant versus dire in Dota 2. It has some substance, so you can kind of see like the dire being kind of a more negative force and darker, and the radiant being more kind of good, kind of like in World of Warcraft, where neither side is really bad or really good. So we shall see. Ahead of us we have Chronicle of Thessos, a folk of the Kings. We are not only going to be reading for the rest of our days. This is only going to be like 4 to 5 episodes, and I'm going to try and get some gameplay out for you guys as soon as possible. See you on the next episode, and don't forget to share, like, subscribe, all those things.